Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We will s- Today we will talk uh, the anatomy of eye. So we will begin from the anatomy of eyeball. So basically, eyeball is consist of, you can say that, three layers. The first one is the protective layer. So the protective layer is also further consist of two parts. The first one is sclera and the other one is cornea. The sclera is basically the opaque layer, and the cornea is basically, you can say that it's a transparent layer. Okay, so the outermost part you can see here, it's basically, you can see here, that layer. That layer is basically the protective layer of eyeball. So it's the protective layer, and that part of protective layer of the eyeball is basically sclera. So fifth, sixth of the eyeball, it's a sclera and it's a opaque layer. We remember the protective layer is the outermost layer, and that part is the sclera. From here up to here, from here up to here, it's basically the sclera. And from here up to here, it's also the protective layer, that layer is that layer is basically the cornea. It's the cornea of eye. It's the 1/6 of the protective layer of the eye. The first point you should to be note about that, the sclera is opaque. You should to know about that. It is opaque layer. The sclera is opaque, but the cornea is basically transparent layer. So it's the difference between these two protective layers. It's basically the one layer, but for simplicity, you should to be know that it's a sclera and it's a cornea. And the junction where these two layers meets with one another, it's basically, you can say that it's a corneoscleral junction. What's it? It's a corneoscleral junction. It's a corneoscleral junction, and it is also known as limbus. Also known as limbus. It is also known as limbus. So that's the first layer. The second layer is the vascular layer. The second layer is the vascular layer, and it basically provides, you can say that, nutrition and protection to the cornea. To the retina, and it's also known as uveal tract, and it is further consists of three layers. It further consists of three layers. Uh, three parts. You can say that three parts. The first part is basically the choroid. It's a vascular cord, you can say that. It's also a vascular part. It's a ciliary body. The second part of that layer is ciliary body, and the third part is basically iris. So you can see here, that layer, basically that layer up to here, from that red layer, that red layer, from here up to here, it's basically the uveal tract, or you can say that vascular cord, which is present after the protective cord. So it's basically, you can say that it's a vascular cord present after the protective cord. It provides nutrition and protection to the retina. That's the retina. The third layer is the retina, and it further consists of, just recently we said that it's further consists of three parts. So that part, from here up to here, from here up to here, you can see the mark, it's basically a choroid. What's it? It's a choroid. And that layer, and from here up to here, and also from here up to here. Basically, I haven't made exact diagram of that. So from here up to here is basically the other part of that muscular layer is, you can say that it's a ciliary body, and the other part from here up to here, it's a diaphragm like, and it's known as iris. It's known as iris. And the window present here, it's basically a pupil. So it's a pupil. You should to know about that. It's a pupil. So now you can understand the second layer. Um, so basically the first layer was sclera, protective layer, sclera up to 5 to 6 of the eyeball protective part. That's basically sclera, and 1/6 of the protective part is cornea. After that there is a vascular layer, and it consists of three parts. The first one is choroid, and the other one is ciliary body, and the third one is iris. And that window is known as, you can say that as a pupil. Okay. The third layer is basically photosensitive part of the eyeball. It's the major, or you can say it's the most important, for which the protection and nutrition is required, and the importance of, you can say that that organ which is known as eye. So that part is basically the retina. That third layer you can see here, the blue one is basically, you can say that it's the photosensitive part of uh, eyeball. By the help of it, the light energy is converted, you can say that, into electrical impulses or into action potential. You should know about that. That layer is further consists of two parts. The first one is, you can say that's the pigmented layer of retina, and it is strongly attached to the choroid, or you can say choroid layer, vascular part of vascular layer part choroid. It's attached strongly with choroid, and it you can say prevent the reflection of light. So basically the most other important point about that layer is that after that after that pigmented layer, the rod and cones is present, but you should to be know very clearly about that the cone and rod is present not all over the eyeball, or you can say to the whole, after the, you can say that after the vascular layer to the behind the whole layer of vascular layer. It's you should to know that it is present, you can say, just like here and here. So suppose if we consider that it's you can say that it's a corneoscleral junction, and it's the coronal section. Suppose if we draw a line here, it's the coronal section of eye. So suppose if it's a coronal section, and it's the corneoscleral junction, or you can say limbus, the other name for choreo corneoscleral junction as limbus. And the retina, the rod and cone is present not all over the vascular layer, but present up to here. And the pigmented layer of retina is present all over the vascular layer up to iris. So that's the most important point about that. So the first layer was protective layer, consists of sclera, and the uh, other, you can say that 1/6 of the protective layer is cornea. It is transparent, but it is opaque. The second layer is, you can say that, vascular layer, and consists of further three parts. The first one is choroid, ciliary body, and the iris. And the third layer is, you can say that layer that basically the retina, and retina is further consists of two layers. The first layer after the vascular layer is the pigmented layer, which is strongly attached with the choroid part of vascular layer, and the other layer is retina, which is not present all over the vascular layer. Further, for you can, if you're and the other inside the eyeball, inside the eyeball is present here a body, you can say that here it's basically a vitreous body, and it's a pupil, and after the pupil here is the lens. It's a lens. It's basically a lens, and lens is attached to the ciliary body with the help of suspensory ligaments. These are suspensory ligaments. It's you can say it's a suspensory ligaments, also known as sonules, and it's a vitreous body. And here uh, fluid is present, which is known as aqueous humor. That part of, you can say that, here in front of the iris, here the aqueous humor is present. It's a cornea. It's a, if light uh, fall upon the eye, so it will cross first of all cornea. After that it will cross, you can say that, aqueous humor, then pupil, then lens, and then vitreous body, and after that it will, you can say that, fall upon the photosensitive part, which is known as retina or rhodid cones. So basically that's the simple, or you can say that, the structure of our basic structure, basic anatomy of eyeball, how it is arranged and how it is, you can say that, the parts are present inside the eyeball. So it's basically just like that, which I have explained. For review, you can see here uh, eyeball is consist of three layers. The first one is, you can say that, protective layer. The other one is, you can say that, vascular layer. The third one is, you can say that, photosensitive part of the eyeball. Okay, so photosensitive protective layer is further consist of, you can say that, sclera, and the other one is cornea. And vascular layer is also called, you can say that, uveal tract, and further consist of choroid, ciliary body, and iris. And photosensitive layer retina is consist of two parts: pigmented layer and a photosensitive layer. It's the most important layer uh, uh, upon which photolights fall, and you can say that, the you can say that um, elect a photo yeah, light energy is converted into electrical impulses or action potential. So that's all about the anatomy of eyeball. You can see once more, it's basically the uh, protective layer sclera. The consist of protective layer consists of two parts: sclera and the cornea, and the after that it's a vascular layer, consists furthermore upon three parts. You can say that, choroid, ciliary body, and iris. And the other layer is retina. The blue one, the red one, is vascular, and that one is, you can say that one is, you can say that, let's see, protective layer. Okay, and that part is basically the vitreous body, and it's a lens. It's a zonules through which the lens is attached to the ciliary body. It's also suspensory ligaments. When light pass through the eye, so first it will cross the cornea, after that it will cross the aqueous humor, then it will pass through the pupil, and it will, after that it will cross the lens, and then after that it will cross the vitreous body, and after that it will fall upon the retina. So that's the whole structure of, you can say, of the eye.